What's going on here? Hello. Hi, everyone. Sorry, things are a bit weird, wonky. Good to see you. Hello, Paul and Roz. Lovely to see you back again. Hello, Rob and Deb. Hello, Kay. Your sandwiches look yummy. I haven't got mortadella sandwiches because it's all just too hard for me to organise fancy food like that and be ready for drinks with Kate on time. I do have, I don't know if Leonie's on yet. Maybe I'll get away with it if she's not. We rated the chips, Leonie. so we've, hello Fiona, hello Miriam. How are you? We've started selling chips at Moorooduc. Just so that we've got a little something if people want to have a glass of wine in the courtyard. So this is our first attempt, and Leonie put them out today, and she sold 3 packets to real customers. And then I think Leonie might have bought a pack, and we bought a pack. So we're halfway through the first box, so we'll have to order some more. The Camembert, I think, is very good with Pinot Gris and Chardonnay. And hopefully we'll have the Sep ones soon. So watch this space. Hello, Karen. Jones catering for this corn and bacon cob loaf. How delicious. I know, Fiona, really dangerous. We've been really good. We've been avoiding eating the chips for over a week, but all of a sudden we just went, oh, chips and Pinot Gris. The aioli chips are great. I don't think I've seen those ones, Paul and Roz. I will keep an eye out. So anyway, we'll see how the chips go at Moorooduc. We could be creating a rod for our own back. We might have to order in hundreds of boxes of chips every week just to keep up with demand. Anyway, Jill and Richard have already cracked a bottle because they couldn't wait until we started Drinks with Kate. They were so thirsty after the dog walk. Hello, Peter and Karen. Looks like you've got some nice snacks as well. Peter and Karen sent me through a picture of their snacks. Kay did the sandwiches. She sent me through a picture of her sandwiches. And so, Karen, does that mean that it's just the girls going solo tonight? Hello, Anne. Lovely to see you. Alrighty. So I've decided to drink my Pinot Gris in a Pinot Noir glass, and I've been good all day. Of course, as soon as I get on Drinks with Kate, I start getting a little tickly, excuse me, nose. It's the allergic seat again, isn't it? We had this last year at this time. As soon as I sit down here, I start getting sneezy. He is actually there, is he, Karen? He's just too busy to talk. All right, let's get this Pinot Gris open. Pinot Gris 2021. Woo. Hang on. What am I doing? I feel like my camera's gone backwards for some reason. It's all gone. There we go. How about if I do that? See, it's swapped around in the last 2 weeks. Does anyone know what's going on with YouTube? Because it's really freaking me out. Anyway, I'll get over it. But that door is actually on the wrong side for me, and everything's backwards. I don't know how to fix it. I have to talk to my tech guy, Peter McIntyre, if you're there. Hello, serving drinks, Craig. Very good. Excellent. Men's work's never done. Well, I don't know who's serving my drinks. I have to serve my own drinks. That's part of the joy of being an independent single woman in this world. Here you go. Pinot Gris in the glass. Am I backwards for you guys as well, or is it all just exactly the same as it's always been? It's just very confusing. I think doing Drinks with Kate at Peter's last week kind of threw confused. Anyway, nothing that a nice glass of Pinot Gris won't fix, I say. I look normal. Thank you, Rob and Deb. Thank you, Kay. Cheers, everyone. Pinot Gris. So this Pinot Gris, I really love, I think, discombobulated. Indeed, Peter, completely discombobulated. You've changed. I'm in high def. Oh, Craig, that's very exciting. Pinot Gris, we've jumped a couple of vintages from the 2019 to the 2021. And if you remember at the beginning of this box, we had the 2020 Devil's Creek Pinot Gris, which is where all the Pinot Gris fruit went in 2020. So this is a logical next step. We also have just sold out of the 2019 Pinot Gris in cellar door. So we've moved over to the 2021 in cellar door, which is, again, I think I'm doing an amazing job of putting wines in the box in the right order, that we're kind of swapping them over as we get up to them for Drinks with Kate. If only I could be so clever all of the time. I love this 2021 Pinot Gris because it's got a really beautiful nose to it. It's a little bit less tropical fruited than the 2019. It's got beautiful honey and yellow pear. I've put a little bit too much in my glass. It's not swirling very well. That could also be my slight lack of coordination today. Craig, it is fresh and lively, isn't it? It's got this lovely lift to it. It's got beautiful green and yellow pear fruit. It's got a lovely little sort of fresh quince aroma. Polly's barking, by the way, because of the chips. This is also a good reason not to open chips in this place, because Polly just shouts at everyone until they give her all the chips. There's also a lovely honey note to it. It's almost like honey on hot buttered toast. It's got this really kind of lovely, there's a bit of kind of savoury, toasty kind of a note to it, but also that lovely kind of lovely floral honey note too. Rob and Deb, it is just like lovely ripe pear. The Devil's Creek was much more nashy. Picked a little bit earlier to keep that crunchy green fruit character, whereas it's got that lovely richness and roundness that we like to see in our Estate Pinot Gris. Peter's asking if I normally have the Pinot Gris in the big balloons, and I like to. I think it's not what a lot of other people would recommend, because a lot of people think of Pinot Gris as being sort of more of an aromatic grape variety that you put into a Riesling glass. I find in the Riesling glass, or in the sort of narrower shaped glass compared to the Pinot bowl, it looks tighter and finer and crunchier, but you don't get as much of the aromatics from the wine. And I find in the Pinot glass, in the same way that I like drinking Chardonnay out of this glass as well, I just think with these wines that have they're quite restrained in their fruit expression, but they've got lots to tell us. And so I find that the balloon shape kind of helps those more savoury tertiary characters to come through quicker. Makes the wine, for me, a little bit more interesting, and you get a much better sense of the textural quality of the wine as well, which I think particularly for this Pinot Gris is really important. I kind of feel like I've got my computer slightly in the wrong place, but anyway, I'll keep fiddling around and get it right in. There we go. Got the glass, got the face, got the, yeah, that's right. that's where the computer should, that's what I should be, that's where the computer should be. It's a wine that, and I've sort of talked about this before, but I think it's important to say that Pinot Gris and Pinot Grigio, same grape variety, different languages. Grigio is the Italian name for the grape variety. Pinot Gris is the French name for the grape variety. Pinot Gris is also the international name for the grape variety. So if you're not sure what sort of style you're making, or if you're not in Italy, I would say it should be called Pinot Gris. But I think that this is a grape variety that has caused a lot of confusion for people. And I think we in this group know that Pinot Gris, when it's grown well and it's made well, is a beautiful wine that has great aging potential. And we've tasted some, where have we tasted back to? We've tasted back to at least to the 2012, which is still looking gorgeous. 12, 13, 14 we've had in the last year. And we can go back and look at those again probably early next year now, because we're nearly at the end of the year. It's terrifying. But I think these wines, for me, need to have just that little bit of time in bottle before we release them. The 2021, I think, is just starting to come out of its shell. I looked at it 6 months ago and it was really tight and it was quite closed, and then all of a sudden it just blossomed. And I think it's in a really good place now, but it's going to age really, really nicely. 2012 is a beast. And Nareem saying, bless you, Richard, he can hear you sneezing. Craig, usually the Pinot Gris is great with cheese cutting through fat, but this is adding to our rich cheese, bringing out the flavors. Yeah, I think that's a good comment, Craig, because I think this wine, because it's younger, because it's a bit crunchier, but it's got that lovely honeyed note to it. I don't know if you've ever had the joy of putting really good honey on cheese. It's a very Italian thing to do. They do it sometimes in France too. If you get really nice, kind of really high quality runny honey and drizzle it over some Parmesan or some usually pecorino it works really well with, or a hard sheep's milk cheese in France. The honey and the cheese, it's like salted caramel. You know, you get the sweetness from the honey, but you get the salty umami from the cheese, and it's really wonderful. I think that the lovely pear fruitedness and the honey notes in this wine, even though it's dry as a bone, it's still got those aromatics, and that does the same thing with cheese as a sort of a drizzle of honey and a slice of pear would do, having with cheese on a cheese board. I think also for those of you who've gone the mortadella, and particularly if you've got the mortadella sandwich, I'd be really interested to know how it goes just with it, because the sandwich, not everyone might have looked at the recipe, but it's it looks quite simple in lots of ways, but it looks like a genius kind of a snack to have while drinking. It's white bread with cream cheese on the bread, and then the mortadella is actually kind of smushed up into a little rosette of mortadella and fried so that it's sort of got some crispy bits on the outside, and then you put it on the sandwich and you put the top on the sandwich and cut it into, I think maybe you cut the crusts off, because you know, if you're going to have this kind of sandwich, then crusts kind of get in the way. Cut it into fingers, and that's the sandwich. But then the addition to the sandwich, which sounds fairly genius to me, which might fight with this wine, is the dipping sauce, which is vinegar and green olives chopped up, and so that brings the acid and the savoury to the sandwich. I wonder whether the wine does the same job as the dipping sauce, or whether the wine can cope with the sandwich and the dipping sauce all together. So if you are doing that little experiment, I know, Kay, you're having a play with the sandwiches. I'm not sure if anybody else is. Let me know how it's going with the wine, with and without the dipping sauce. Hello, Jackie. How you going? Good to see you. It is one of those wines, though, that I think doesn't really need food to enjoy it. It's lovely on its own. Linda's still making the sandwiches. Hello, Linda. I gave Linda the debrief on the sandwiches this afternoon. She's like, "Oh, I've got to get cream cheese on the way home." So yes, let me do report back, Linda, once you tasted it. But it's a wine that doesn't need food. It's a lovely, fresh, youthful wine. And I really love the balance of, again, Pinot Gris. We like to get it quite ripe, and this one is 14% according to the label, which means it's somewhere between 13 and 15%. But we try to get pretty close to the actual alcohol of the wine these days, so we're pretty good at getting that pretty close to right. So it's riper than Chardonnay when we pick it. It's got higher sugar levels, higher potential alcohol. We ferment it through to dryness, so you've got all that sugars turned into alcohol. The other thing that we find is, as Pinot Gris is naturally a lower acid variety than Chardonnay, and particularly when it's as ripe as this, the acid does start to diminish. So it's only got sort of medium acidity on the palate, but that acid is still quite tangy. You get that nice little zip from it. And there's lovely phenolics. We've talked about phenolics before. Remember, phenolics are sort of, tannins are part of phenolics, but when we're talking about white wine, it's also the texture, the aromas, the flavours that you get. But for me, it's mostly that textural quality. It's almost, it gives it kind of a grippiness in the mid palate. It gives you a kind of a round character on the palate. and it gives it a slightly slippery kind of character, which is also reminiscent of honey, that texture of honey, which is rather nice. Peter and Karen are saying the sandwich is great with the wine, nice alone, but also good with the sauce. Oh, you used verjus instead of red wine vinegar, so slightly less acid. That's a good idea. Nice little substitute there. But I think if you don't have time to make a sandwich and you don't have time to organise a lovely little cheese platter or something, brie flavoured chips, camembert flavoured chips, sorry, don't get it wrong, Kate. Camembert flavoured chips also work very well with this because Pinot Gris works really well with potato and other root vegetables. Okay, used a bit less red wine vinegar, a bit more olive oil. Good work. And the sandwiches are working good. I'm so glad. I remember, and it's, you know, when we lose a chef like Jock Zanfrillo, particularly in the way that it was last year that he died. It was very, very sad. Obviously, he had some real demons. And then I saw soon after he died, they showed this episode of the Cook Up with him, and he was making these sandwiches, and he just was so full of life and so happy and so excited to be sharing his grandfather's recipe. His Italian grandfather used to make these sandwiches. He showed us the recipe. It was just such a brilliant combination of techniques and flavors. I still haven't made it because I'm still toying a little bit with my sort of part-time vegetarianism. But I think it would be delicious. And as soon as we tasted this one last week, Jeremy and I were writing tasting notes for it. We just thought this would be so delicious with a slice of salty, meaty mortadella. And I know I said that last week and then got myself all confused with mortadella, mozzarella, all the different Italian names for cheeses and meats. But I think that's a really good sandwich that's got a bit of fried and a bit of sauce and a bit of saltiness and a bit of softness from the bread. Really good snacky part-time alcoholics as well. Thank you, Craig. Peter and Karen saying one of the best meals you ever had at Arana, and I never got there. I was really sad. It closed by the time I had an opportunity to try and book in. I was really annoyed, but I heard that the food was amazing. And he made these mortadella sandwiches apparently at Arana as well. So anyway, so here's cheers to Jock for his brilliance and for leaving the world too soon. And hopefully he'll live on in his sandwiches. As this wine's opening up, there's more of that little kind of rose petal perfume to it. And I think that's the other thing about Pinot Gris. When it's ripe and when it's concentrated, you get a little bit of that character that people think of as being a Gewürztraminer character, rose petals. Mum's got a beautiful rose outside that we just, when we were doing the dog walk, and this beautiful rose bush. It's a full-size rose bush, and it's got these gorgeous roses that are sort of a peachy, yellowy, orange colour. And they've got this gorgeous, almost peachy rose perfume to them. They're quite delicate, but also quite concentrated. And I get that on this wine as well. It's not red roses and it's not pink roses. It's orange. It's that orange peachy rose kind of a aroma. Oh, good idea, Linda. We've decided last year for our staff Christmas party, we had a brunch just before Christmas, and we've decided to do it again because it was so fun. So we're just working on the menu at the moment. And Linda's suggesting we make the mortadella sandwiches for the Christmas brunch. That's not a bad idea, Linda. I wonder, will they go with champagne and Bloody Marys, though, is the very important question. Or we might have to crack a bottle of Pinot Gris as well. Who knows? Isn't it dreadful that we're talking about Christmas parties now? Craig, at Honey Shop on holidays, we bought a strawberry-flavoured honey, not far removed from this profile. Yeah, it's strawberry. There's a strawberry perfume, honey. It's almost peachy or apricot-y, but not quite, because that goes more into sort of a Chardonnay aromatic, which I think is pretty nice. Okay, Bloody Mary is my go-to on a long-haul flight. Absolutely. Well, that's because you get the vitamins from the tomato juice as well as the sedating effect of the vodka in the alcohol part of the Bloody Mary. So it's part health tonic, part sedation for long-haul flights. I think it's a very good aeroplane beverage. I've just stumped myself thinking about Bloody Marys. But yes, we're halfway. We're into it. Nobody believes me. Yeah, sleep, health, and vitamin C. Absolutely. So it's November already. Can you believe it? Who's going to the Melbourne Cup on Tuesday? Anyone into the horse races? I'll be having a holiday. I won't be going to the races. But it brings to mind. Nope. It brings to mind that we are up to wine number 4 in box 5. So we've got 2 more weeks to go in this box. I'm going to have to work out what we're going to do for the rest of the year because we've got about 4 or 5 Thursdays left until Christmas after we finish this box. So I'm thinking that we could do a smaller box. We could do a 3 or a 4 wine box and then maybe do a little champagne breakup like we've done in the past. Have to do a fizzy, absolutely, Fiona. So going to the other main race days. Oh, Noreen, that sounds, I knew there'd be someone who was into it. Good on you. I'm going up to Melbourne on Derby Day, which is next Thursday, to do a lunch at La Luna Bistro, Women in Wine. I think that's what it's called. Anyway, it sounds like fun. They invited me. I'm a woman. I'm in wine. It all works. So we've got, I think I checked my diary. I think we've got 5 weeks before Christmas, but we might need to break up a week before Christmas because everyone's got Christmas parties and stuff to go to. Noreen, you might open a 2016 Robinson Chardonnay Magnum. Well, congratulations. You absolutely can do that because that's yours, and I think that would be a beautiful thing to do. Oaks Day Thursday. Thank you, Kay. Derby Days this Saturday. See, my sister and brother-in-law would be very disappointed in me because they didn't have their real wedding because they got married. They were living in Dubai and Bahrain. Where were they living? Bahrain. And Christy got pregnant and so they had to get married. And then they came home and had a wedding party back here after they had Charlotte. So that was Derby Day, and Chris's family threatened not to come to their wedding because they had their wedding party on Derby Day and they wanted to go to the races. But they made the right decision, came to the wedding. Everyone's still talking to each other. It was a great day. And it was a long time ago now. I found the photos and Charlotte's now 16, so it was 15 years ago. 200 guests sit down, Dad's remembering. He's still traumatised. And Jill did all the catering. It was amazing. Zoe's very eager to open hers too. Oh, Rob and Deb, yes. Well, they're very, very special, those magnums. We only did 50 of them. So they're pretty rare. They've got a number on them, so you'll know what number you got. They will drink beautifully right now, but if you do want to keep them, they'll age really nicely, I reckon, for probably another 8 to 10 years. But who wants to hold on to a magnum for that long? So yeah, drink it on Oaks Day, drink it on Derby Day, drink it on Cup Day, drink it on Cup Day. That'd be good. Magnums are fun for parties as well, I think. Oh, the dogs are getting their dinner in the restaurant tonight, so that they can be part of. Hang on, I've got to show you Polly. She's like, but I'm on Drinks with Kate. I can't go and have my dinner because people won't be able to see me on Drinks with Kate anymore. And saying magnums and Christmas are a must. I agree. Magnums are very good at Christmas. Oh, she's been tempted away by dinner. Good decision, Polly. Craig, quick anecdote from Granite Belt trip. We were tasting at Halliday's favourite granite winery, talking about the region. They said that they were aiming for a Mornington vibe, just with better wine. Better wine. That's funny. Good work. We left. Isn't that weird? Yeah. Well, how was the wine? Did you taste it, Craig? Was it nice? They make some good Shiraz up in the Granite Belt. Not a lot of great Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, or Pinot Gris, so maybe that wasn't the vibe they were after. Um, so Magnums and Christmas are a must, absolutely, Anne. Magnums, I think for me, a Magnum of champagne in the more Sagrantino, excellent, Craig. Oh, good. Sagrantino can be very good, but it has to be treated well and grown in the right place. And I wouldn't grow Sagrantino down here on the Mornington Peninsula. Magnums, Christmas Magnums, Magnum of champagne at Christmas morning with Father Christmas presents if there are children around doing Father Christmas things, or just presents. And we like to have a panforte. No, what's it called, Jill? Not panforte, the Italian thing. What's it called? My brain's gone again. I haven't even been talking too much today. Pierre Peter's Magnum, absolutely. And panettone. Fiona and Anne know panettone, absolutely. Panettone with champagne for Christmas breakfast, best thing ever. And if you really want to go all out, just toast the panettone very, very lightly under the griller. They burn really, really quickly. I know what both of you meant. Thank you, Fiona and Anne. But toast it very, very gently under the griller really quickly, so that it just caramelizes a tiny bit, because it's full of sugar and probably booze and all sorts of good stuff. But just slightly toasted, it is amazing. You can have some fruit and muesli as well if you feel like being healthy, but it is Christmas Day, so just saying, got to get ready for these things. So, what do you guys think if we do a little half drinks with K-Pack? We also, Kevin and Emily, I don't think are on today, but Kevin is still very keen, and I'm also very keen for us to do a mezcal session with his mezcal that he's bringing in. We're just trying to work out how to get it into half bottles, because the full bottles are about I think $80 retail. So if you're not a big fan of mezcal, or you don't know if you're a fan of mezcal, that's quite an outlay for a 750ml bottle of mezcal. But I'll talk to Kevin during the week if I can get onto him. If you're around, Kevin, talk to me. And we'll see if we can slip a half bottle of mezcal into the next pack, as well as some wine. And we'll do champagne the Thursday before Christmas. Or do you want to, anyway, when we break up, we'll work that out. I'll work it all out. I'll send you a memo. It'll all be a thing. Fiona likes it made in her bread and butter pudding with marmalade. That is awesome. Rita and Giovanni looked at me weirdly when I told them we toast our panettone. It's pretty good. It's pretty good toasted. But Italians probably wouldn't approve, because that's not traditional. Decidedly un-Italian. Absolutely, Pete. But I recommend people try it. So we will have a break after Christmas for January, because people will be going on holidays and blah, blah, blah. Question from Keely: how have you made the marmalade bread and butter pudding? She's always up for a recipe. That's Peter's specialty. The marmalade bread and butter pudding. So Pete, if you can share that with me, I can share that with the gang. It's not going to go with any of our wines, so we'll have to think about that, won't we? Kay, can we do test tube mezcal? Takes you back in time. Well, you can certainly. I think if we can get people onto a half bottle or a whole bottle of mezcal each, then we'll talk about tasting it as a sipping drink. If you want to do shots, that's in your own time. But we'll talk about a couple of nice cocktails that you can make with it. I mean, margaritas are the most obvious, but there are some really lovely other things that you can do with mezcal that are really rather delicious. Oh, question for Fiona from Keely: marmalade bread and butter pudding with the panettone. Yes, Fiona, if you wanted to shoot through your panettone bread and butter marmalade, then that would be rather awesome. Thank you, Fiona. That makes life very easy. The test tube bar in King's Cross, the scars are opening. Oh dear, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that, Craig. We're just going to be civilized with our mezcal, and we're going to talk about drinking it like grown-ups. Linda, very good point. So Linda is also pointing out that we've got 2 functions coming up at the beginning of December. We've got the Magnum release on Saturday, the first Saturday of December, and then the next day we've got our Christmas lunch in the restaurant. We've got a couple of spots still at the Magnum release tasting, and I think we've still got a little bit of space at the Christmas lunch as well. So if you were thinking about booking into one or both of those, then give Linda a call tomorrow. That'd be awesome. Fiona. Okay, so I'll read Fiona's recipe for the bread and butter pudding. Slice panettone into toast thickness, spread marmalade on it, arrange in a dish, and pour the standard egg custard mix on it. Bung it in the oven. But then she said allow it to soak a bit first before bunging in the oven. If you don't have a bread and butter pudding recipe that you that's your go-to, I think that the Stephanie Alexander bread and butter pudding in her it was an orange book, then it was a rainbow book. I think it's still rainbow, but her Cook's Companion has got a really good bread and butter recipe, bread and butter pudding recipe, that you can just swap the bread for panettone and put marmalade on the panettone before you put it into the dish, and it should work pretty well. Kumquat marmalade, Jill says it should be. Craig wants to know what day is the Christmas function. Don't you read your emails, Craig? I am going to send a little follow-up email about it. 3rd of December. Thank you, Linda. I was just looking on my phone, but Linda got there first. So 3rd of December is the Sunday for the Christmas lunch, and if you're coming down from Sydney, why not make a weekend of it? Come on Saturday for the Magnum tasting, and then come to lunch on Sunday. It'll be great fun. And okay, who can tell me before I look it up what wine we're doing next week? I'm going to come back to this Pinot Gris, don't worry, but I'm just letting it open up in the glass a little bit. And I'm very, very badly organised. I think it's a Pinot or I think it might be the Garden Pinot, 21 Garden Pinot. Jeff McKeon, hello. You made it. Welcome. Fiona Inchley is saying that Robinson 21 Chardonnay is next week. Okay, cool. Well, that means that we've got the Garden Pinot the following week. Moorooduc Estate shop. Let's check. Let's see if Dave's wrong. Oh dear, I'm going to have a chip while I'm looking things up. Thanks, Fiona. That's what I thought it was. Garden Pinot 2021. I thought it was that because I do try and alternate red and white, and I don't always do a great job. In Melbourne, the next weekend, Chablis and oysters, anyone on the Saturday night. Craig, is that the next week, that second weekend of December? That could definitely be a thing that we could do a little Chablis and oysters. So that would be Saturday the 9th or 10th, wouldn't it? Sounds good. I would definitely be up for that. Let me check my diary and I'll get back to you. Sounds good. We'll see if anyone else wants to come along. The 11th. Thank you, Kay. Maybe if you're keen to catch up with Craig and anybody else for Chablis and oysters on Saturday the 11th, send me an email to kate@moorooducestate.com.au and I'll coordinate it with Craig and we'll see what we can work it out. Keely has duck kumquat marmalade, so we're set. Crisis averted. Good work, Nareem and Keely. That will be fabulous. Peter and Karen, because there are 3 of us, we've moved on to the 2014 Gris. Still lovely. Good, Peter and Karen. That's great. And Jeff, I think is that Jeff or Sue saying that you love the mezcal? Because I know both of you do, but I think Sue's a big fan of the mezcal. All right. Well, my loves, how's this going? It's on. It is on, Craig. This is starting. I thought it was Sue. Gotcha. This is getting cheesier as it opens up with some air, which I think is rather lovely, particularly good with my camembert chips, but hopefully it's still good with your all of your snacks, your cheesy snacks and your meaty snacks. It's the honey's coming through still as well, and it's just showing that this wine is going to live for a really long time. It's going to be really nice. One thing I will say, you might have noticed, I'm not sure if anybody did notice how quickly we went through the 2019 Pinot Gris. It only lasted us for about 3 or 4 months from when we released it to when we sold out. This is what's happening with Moorooduc Estate wine at the moment, either because we haven't had enough fruit from a year to keep things going, or with Pinot Gris, we made a conscious decision to make a little bit less Pinot Gris for a couple of years, because 5 or 10 years ago, people were saying, gosh, that's very expensive for Pinot Gris, and we were struggling to sell what we were making, which is why we now have some lovely wines in the museum, which is a bonus for everyone. Kate, if you'd like to just send the sandwiches out to everyone. Sandwiches are lovely but very filling. I figured that they might be, because they've got a lot of yummy stuff in them, leaving them for on, so you better keep a little of the yummy Pinot Gris. Yes, absolutely. So again, we only made a small amount of this 2021 Pinot Gris. If you like it, it will probably... We just seem to be going very well with Pinot Gris, because we've kind of educated people in what we're trying to do with Pinot Gris. People are getting excited about it. You guys are on board. So I guess what I'm saying is, don't leave it too long to get some of this in your cellar. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be an awesome summer drink. I think we're going to enjoy this as a young wine. I think we're going to enjoy it with a little bit of bottle age. I think it's rather awesome. Now, what's going on the chat? Jeff would like some of Kay's. Yes, hello, Polly. Polly's just noticed that I've got a bowl of chips here, and she's finished her dinner, and Jill and Richard have eaten all their chips. So we could be in trouble. We might have to wrap this up if I've got a naughty dog barking at me. Polly, come here and have a chip. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come. Show people what a lovely, polite dog you are. Good girl, good sit. Nice work. See, she's got good table manners. She just barks a lot. You want one, Fred, too. Here you go, Freddie. Oh, this is excellent television. Take it. Oh, good boy. So, questions. Noreen was saying 2021 was a little cold when you started, much more open after warming and opening up. And I think this is one of the problems. A lot of people serve Pinot Gris too cold, because they think that it needs to be served really cold, because it should be crisp. And our Pinot Gris is much better at just below room temperature. So that's a good tip. Let it open up a little bit. Craig wants to know, do many restaurants dig this wine? Well, in fact, the 2019 Pinot Gris is on by the glass at René Leroux at the moment, which is the new fancy restaurant that Nomads opened up in the old ANZ, beautiful old ANZ building. Mum and I went there 2 weeks ago, and it was delightful. So I think there are restaurants, and Society's actually had a bit of a play with our Pinot Gris, and Vue de Monde as well. So we've had some nice successes with the Pinot Gris, both the 2019 and the 2013 that we released to a couple of high-end restaurants. It's very much a wine that restaurants need to have either on by the glass and be pushing to people, or matching it to certain dishes, because I think people still are a little bit wary of Pinot Gris. So it's only the really fancy restaurants that can kind of get away and say, this is really good Pinot Gris, don't you worry, trust us, we're experts. So I've got to say, if you do get a chance to go to René Leroux, it's rather lovely. Mum and I had a lovely lunch. They do lots of kind of shared things. Apart from the Pinot Gris being on by the glass, I think for me the highlights, we didn't have oysters. I would have liked to have, they've got an oyster bar and they shuck them to order. That all looks rather lovely. But the food was great. Mum had an amazing little scallop as her little starter, but the ice cream at the end, which was Jersey milk ice cream, drizzled in olive oil. I know it sounds weird, and whole roasted hazelnuts. And then you get a bit of flaky salt to sort of flake over the top of it. I maybe put a bit too much salt on part of the ice cream, but once we got through the too salty bit, it was amazing. So I highly recommend that. I'd just go and sit up at the bar and have a glass of champagne and an ice cream if I were you. Jeff wants to know, how long do I take the Pinot Gris out of the fridge before serving? Well, I put it in the wine fridge, so it's at 14 degrees, which is the perfect temperature for a medium-bodied, full-bodied Pinot Gris like this. Sue, sorry, Sue, I knew that was you, but it's still coming up as Jeff. You need to change it from Jeff to you. If you have it in a normal fridge, I would take it out at least half an hour before you're drinking it to let it come up to room temperature a bit quicker. And would have lost fingers in your house giving chips to dogs. Yeah, fair enough. No room in the cellar after quinoa and duck shardy lunch. Oh, well, Noreen, maybe you just need to buy some for just everyday drinking. Just have it in the kitchen and just drink it. Drink faster. I know that's not responsible. Drink well. Drink in a meaningful way. Fiona, how do you spell the name of that restaurant? So it's French. So Ren is Queen, R-E-I-N-E, E-T, La, and then Rue as in street, R-U-E, Ren et La Rue. It's had some mixed reviews. All the reviews say the food's very nice. It's quite expensive. But you kind of get what you pay for, I think. So there you go. The pub at Coral Bay, WA has it on their menu. Oh, good. Excellent. Well, actually, we have a lovely, relatively new distributor in WA, so that's really good to hear. And Paul, that was really nice of you to send me a message to let me know that you actually drank it there. Our new distributors in WA are doing a beautiful job getting our wine around and about. So this is the problem I get barked at if I don't kind of feed her chips all the time. But yes, we're finding more Moorooduc wines floating around good places in WA as well as the eastern seaboard these days. Kay started giving friends wine and not telling them what it is. They're very surprised when they say they don't like X and suddenly they're drinking it, love it. Mainly Chardonnay. Me too. I did that with Chardonnay all through the whole anti-Chardonnay kind of years, and I'm now doing it with Pinot Gris as well and tricking people into drinking it and they say, oh, that's delicious. What is it? And you say, oh, it's Pinot Gris. And like, oh, I don't usually like Pinot Gris. It's like, well, maybe you need to taste more different Pinot Gris or just drink Moorooduc Estate. That would be safe as well. All right. I think on that note, I might leave you guys to it. But enjoy the rest of your Pinot Gris, and you'll notice again that it's in our new lightweight bottle, so that's nice. Those of you in Queensland, we're struggling with the new Queensland container deposit program that just came in on the 1st of November. One came in Victoria as well, but we don't have to do anything because they don't accept wine bottles. But in Queensland, they've decided everything has to go through. Don't get me wrong, we agree in principle that it's a fantastic idea to recycle everything. We're very much in favour of that. The paperwork and the legalese that we've had to deal with to try and get registered has been appalling, and it's driving us insane. But we haven't given up on selling wine to Queensland yet, and I don't think we will. So it's just make sure you recycle your bottles to make it worth our while. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you to it. You're 10 cents richer tonight. Absolutely, Paul and Roz. Just give us a couple of days because we've still got to get all of our barcodes registered. So don't take it in until next week. Queensland's a challenge. Absolutely, Craig. It's good though. We've got some very lovely customers and lovers of Moorooduc Estate in Queensland. So it would be a terrible shame. And the rest of Australia is going to come on board with it as well. So it's all good. All right, team, I'm going to love you and leave you. It's been awesome. I'm was lovely to drink this new Pinot Gris with you. Looking forward to having the Garden Vineyard Pinot Noir next week. Remember, whole bunch, 2021. It's looking terrific. I'll think of a really exciting food and wine match by Monday and let you know. Those of you in Victoria, just because we've got a holiday on Tuesday, I will make sure that I send out my email on Monday. Chablis and Oysters is booked for next Saturday week. That's right, Craig. Let me get in contact with you offline, Craig, and confirm that I can come. But it sounds like we've got some people already keen. Have a lovely long weekend, everyone. Thank you, Nareem. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you again next week. Cheers.